welcome back to my channel. My name is Janet and I have lost over 100 pounds following the ketogenic diet. On my channel, you will find a variety of things, including keto recipes, what I eat in a day on keto, and some protein-sparing modified fast recipes. Also, like to thank for all my returning subscribers. Thank you so much for being here, sharing, liking, and commenting on my videos. It really does help my channel grow. We are getting closer and closer to 10,000 subscribers. So make sure that you are subscribed, you are sharing my videos, leaving me the comments, and doing all the wonderful things that you do, and welcome back. Today's recipe I have not tried previously. I had this thought and I am going to give it a try today. So today I am going to attempt to make protein-sparing modified fast pierogies. Yes, pierogies. This is going to be kept as a protein-sparing modified fast approved food, okay, meal, whatever you want to call it. I am not adding very much fat to this recipe, except for the protein-sparing modified fast bread itself does contain 5 egg yolks, because I am going to be using, once again, Amy's recipe. I love her Hawaiian recipe. I love creating things. I've created croissants with that recipe. I will actually link that up in the description. It is amazing and versatile what I can do with that recipe of hers. I manipulate it into a dough, and that is how I'm able to create all of these different things. And I'm hoping that it will do the same in order for me to create some protein-sparing modified fast pierogies. So if that's what you're here for, let's get started. So first, what we are going to do is we are going to make the dough. I will have Amy's recipe linked in the description. It is her Hawaiian roll recipe, so just make note of that. But I do manipulate it in order to make different things instead of the buns. I do not add the pineapple extract when I am doing this. I do leave that out, so just so you take note, if you do decide to make these, do not include the pineapple extract, or I was using the orange extract. Do not include that in this recipe. So let's get started on that. You guys have seen me make this recipe a couple times, so I am just going to go ahead and make it first, and then we will continue on in the rest of the recipe and how we are going to assemble and create pierogies.
I'll walk across the room just to show you that I'm still around. Ask if you wanna meet somewhere later when the sun goes down. Oh, you know I'm serious. I'm serious. I will keep you all to myself. Oh, you're so.
All right, our mixture is all done. So what we are going to do next is I have this extra large baking sheet that was gifted to me from a subscriber from my Amazon wish list. So I use it all the time, as well as these 2 silicone mats all the time. So thank you so much for gifting me that. So what I am going to spray on it is some olive oil, and that is what I am going to use to spray my silicone mats. Now, if you're making buns or something, I always use this even then, but you probably can still go without using this. It's just when I'm making something pliable, I like to really lift it off of this mat quite easily. So this is kind of an important step. If you are making something that I have made with this recipe, like the pretzels, I've made pretzels, I will also link that video here, or the croissants that I have made as well with Amy's recipe. So that's what I do, and then I just kind of plop it on there and I create a whole sheet, flat sheet of the protein-sparing modified fast bread mixture, and that is what is going to be our dough. However, if you have seen those videos, like I have mentioned, I put this in a 325-degree oven. However, I only cook it for a short amount of time to make it pliable. We want to make it cooked, because obviously this dough, we can't exactly use our hands and manipulate it into pierogies. So what I do is I bake it for a little bit, 5 to 7 minutes, and then I take it out, and then I will create whatever I want to create with it. and then I put it back in the oven to finish cooking. So that is what I do when I utilize all of this bread, and it's been working out so good. I'm telling you, those croissants tasted amazing. Different flavoring with any of the protein sparing modified fast bread that I have ever made. It takes on the flavor of what you're making. So I know sometimes I get comments, it's like, well, of course it's gonna taste the same and it's gonna be good because it's the same recipe that you're using. Not always the case, you guys. My pretzels and my croissants that I've made turned out totally differently, even though it is the same recipe, but depending on what you put on it. I did garlic butter on my croissants, and I did like sea salt on my pretzels. It just takes on a whole different flavor depending on what seasonings you will add to this. And same with this recipe. I am making pierogies, so you will see what I will be using for the insides of my pierogies. Obviously we can't use mashed potatoes, so I found a different alternative that I am going to try to see if it's going to work and give that flavoring of a pierogi. All right, so we're gonna try to make this as thin as possible. We don't want it too thin, because that's when it's really hard to manipulate, and it will burn as well too, compared to the other places. So we want it to kind of all be very much an even texture on the whole entire thing, which I know is really hard to do. Trust me, I get it. All right, I think that's pretty good though. So like I mentioned, we are just going to put this in an oven for only 5 to 7 minutes. I will get back to you exactly how many minutes I leave mine in for. Remember, everybody's oven is different, but I will let you know after I take this out how long I leave mine in for. It's usually at 5 to 7 minutes. Well, that is in the oven. We are going to make our middle, what we are going to be putting in as the filling in these pierogies, and I am going to mix a can of chicken flakes. Now you can use any sort of chicken flakes, ham flakes. You can even use the Costco chicken breast chunks that you can buy in the can. Anything of that sort will result hopefully in the right texture, taste for the filling. So I have drained this, and I am going to put that in my bowl, and then what I am going to put with it is just some pepper. I am not going to add any salt because these I find are really salty to begin with. Feel free to add in your own seasonings as well. So I am going to add my pepper, and I am going to add 1 egg in the mixture. Now if you are making this for your keto days, feel free to add shredded cheese in it as well too. You can also probably use mashed cauliflower for the filling. I really wanted to keep this a protein sparing modified fast recipe, period. I did not want to have it keto, because I know there is a lot of you that are doing the protein sparing modified fast days, and I wanted to make this 100% usable for those days so that you can enjoy pierogies. Like what? Pierogies on your protein sparing modified fast days. So we are just going to make sure this is all really well combined and mashed up, and then I will show you how we will make our pierogies once the batter is out of the oven. All right, this is it right out of the oven. So I left it in the oven for 10 minutes. 10 minutes only. You don't want to cook it too much. You don't want to undercook it, or else it will be raw in the middle and you won't be able to use it at all. So 10 minutes is definitely a good number. Like I said, every oven is different, so try to start with 10 minutes. When it starts getting a little bit golden along the edges, you'll see a little bit of goldiness on the top. That is when it's ready to come out of the oven. So I literally let this cool only for about 2 minutes, not very long at all. And then I will put it on a piece of parchment paper, and then another piece of parchment paper on the top, and I will start rolling this out to become flatter. So let's do that. All right, so we have a couple broken spots, but that's okay because we are not using this whole sheet. We are just using circles, which I do have a lid from one of my jars that I am going to make the circles, and that is what we are going to be using for our pierogies. So this is, I just left it on the silicone mats as well, by the way. I just took it off of my cookie sheet and then put that piece of parchment paper on the top. I have a smaller cookie sheet to the side with some parchment paper that I am going to put off to the side, and then we are going to make our pierogies, and then we are going to fill them, put them back in the oven, not for very long, and then that should be hopefully our pierogies, you guys. So I'm just going to do this and add my filling and go from there. Now, you will have leftover protein sparing modified fast bread, obviously, because we're only cutting circles. Now you can use whatever you want for this. I probably will use it as bread crumbs is probably what I will use. But you guys can use it for whatever you would like. Definitely do not waste it. I do not encourage that whatsoever. So make sure that you find another use for it, but breadcrumbs is always a great idea. All right, there we go. So now what we're gonna do, because see now these are nice and pliable, so we are going to put some of our mixture that I just made, and we are gonna put it in here, and then we are going to pinch it together as best as we can. I would love to have one of those pierogi makers right now because I feel like that would probably come in really, really handy. But we are just going to pinch it together because it is still a little bit damp because it's not fully cooked. And that is going to be our pierogi, you guys. There you go. So I'm just going to continue doing that and putting it on our new baking sheet, and then we will move on.
Oh, you're so mysterious, mysterious. I can't keep my hands to myself. I walk across the room, show you I'm around. Ask if you wanna meet when the sun goes down. 'Cause you're the only one who can get me so high, so high.
Alrighty, here we have our pierogies. It ended up making 10 of them. So I feel like this maybe would be good for 2 meals because I would imagine this would be quite filling. And I am going to put it back in the oven probably for another 10 minutes or so in order to finish cooking. These are them out of the oven. I left them in there for an additional 10 minutes. So 10 minutes to get your dough after you have created whatever you're creating, this case pierogies, and then another 10 minutes after that. So I noticed a couple of them had opened, but you know what? It's still gonna be okay. I'm not too worried about that. I'm kind of just worried about more of like how it's gonna taste. So let's let these cool, and then I'm going to taste them from this state, and then I'm also going to make up my lunch on how I would eat this on a keto day, but these will be perfect for your protein sparing modified fast days. All right, let's give one of these a taste. They have cooled off a little bit. Let's see how the flavoring actually is with these. No, it needs something else for the middle. Maybe? It definitely, you can taste that it's chicken. That's the whole thing. The texture is actually pretty good. But yeah, you can taste the chicken in it. I feel like if you mixed it with cheese, maybe that would be it. Does anybody have any other options? Obviously it's still good because I'm eating it. Yeah, to me this kind of just tastes like a chicken sandwich. But it's still really good, and I feel like how I'm going to have it today, mixed with like sour cream and some shredded cheese, and it might take on a whole new taste. Don't get me wrong, this is still good, but it honestly tastes like a chicken sandwich. All right, I have made up my plate, and this looks delicious. I have the pierogies with some sour cream. I always put a little bit of basil on my pierogies, like normally prior to keto. So I put a little bit of basil on there, as well as my smoky and some sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut. So let's give these a taste with the sour cream. Maybe this will be the difference. We'll see. Any other ideas what I could use as a filling, anyone? You guys are always really creative as well. Okay, it's a little bit better with the sour cream, but still not pierogi tasting. My sauerkraut and smokies, on the other hand, are delicious. Don't get me wrong, this is still delicious, but it just really takes on that chicken flavor a lot. It's gonna need a little bit of tweaking. It's gonna need a little bit of tweaking, but we may get there, you guys. We may get there. I love pierogies, so if I can find a way to make them on keto, I will be ecstatic. So these still turned out okay. Obviously they won't go to waste. I will still eat them, but I feel like it just needs a little bit more tweaking. Something maybe instead of the chicken, I just don't know what to use as the filling to make these protein sparing modified fast. Now you could make these, like I mentioned, with cheese in the middle, with cauliflower mash. I feel like that would probably taste really, really good. It's just I was trying to make these protein sparing modified fast approved. So they are still really, really good. I will eat this and be satisfied for sure. So thank you so much for watching me and doing this experiment with me. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button. Give this video a like to let me know that you're liking my content. And don't forget, hit that notification bell so YouTube can notify you when I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.